Hello, welcome to Certified Jams. My name is Dalen, and today we're talking about the song Disintegration by The Cure, and I'm going to tell you why it's a certified jam. So, the album Disintegration is a very formative album for a lot of people. For me, it was huge. I was sort of turned on to this album in junior high. When it came out, I had it on cassette, listened to it nonstop. It's just such a beautiful masterpiece of a record. It really sort of stands alone in terms of even what The Cure as a band has created. The Cure is very prolific. They've got a whole bunch of albums, and they sort of have played around with sort of different genres, different sounds over the years. And to me, this album is a really bright spot in their discography. It's very cinematic. I know Robert Smith at the time was doing a lot of work scoring movies, and a lot of the ideas that he sort of came up with during that time made it onto this album. So the album has this very sort of cinematic feel. And it's a lot less poppy than what their previous records up to this point had been. And yeah, this album is just kind of seminal and really stands out. So the song we're talking about is the title track. It's called Disintegration. It's just such a stunning, beautiful song. It's got this like amazing sort of driving, repetitive rhythm. The drums and the bass basically just do the same thing throughout the entirety of like the 8-minute song. But it doesn't in any way feel repetitive because there's so much going on. There's so many layers. The piano, guitar melodies, the vocal melodies, they're just like stunning. And he just is able to create this like, almost like he's putting you in a trance with this song. It's just so layered and just so beautiful. So yeah, I've got lots to say about this song, but let's just get into it and start listening. And then as we go, we can sort of stop and chat about some of the pieces that I think are just stunning. So this is Disintegration by The Cure. Oh man, he hasn't even started singing yet. There's so many things going on. So the first thing you notice, like I mentioned, is that driving drum and the bass section. So it's like the rhythm section is just like really controlling sort of the drive of this song. The bass line to me is amazing. I'm pretty sure that's actually Robert Smith, and I think he's playing a 6-string bass, and you can kind of hear it. It sort of sounds a little bit higher. And then I think there's actually a regular bass also playing. And then the drums are playing, he's playing like 16th notes on the hi-hats, and just like, it just doesn't stop. It just sounds so precise. I did read that they actually sampled a kick drum and then replaced the kick drum with that sample to just keep it as perfect as possible. And then the rest of the drums are the actual acoustic drums that he's playing. I don't know if that's true, but I think that's what they did. And I think they did it on a few songs on this record. And it's I think just to try to make it as precise as possible. And then just so many layers. Like there's synths, like multiple synths. There's multiple guitars. There's piano. It's just like so much going on. And it just like every little thing they add creates this new little piece of sort of color and adds to the melody or the melodies that they're playing. It's just so stunning. Anyways, once he starts singing too, you sort of like the lyrics on this song are just stunning. Anyways, let's keep going.
I miss the kiss of treachery, the shameless kiss of violence, the soft black velvet, tight against the side, mouth and eyes and heart open, running thickly streams of breeze, bit by bit, starts to just let go.
I love the background vocals there. It sounds like there's like 6 layers of background vocals happening, and it sounds like they're like pitched down. I don't know how they're doing that, but it sounds amazing. It's so like dark and like gloomy in terms of aesthetic, but like to me it's just like kind of uplifting as well because of the pace of it. Yeah, it's so amazing. I love that. I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be just a guitar with some sort of a modulation and delay on it, where it's like, it sounds so cool. It's playing those 16th notes. There's just so many like weird psychedelic sounds. I heard that Robert Smith was taking a lot of like hallucinogenic drugs at the time, and that sort of like kind of informed the texture and like the tone of the album, which you can hear because it's so layered and just so like it sounds trippy. And yeah, there's just so much going on, but that's the thing with this type of production. It's like, if you were to try to put something together like this and you weren't as talented as these guys, it would just sound like a mess. It would just sound like soup. But because they're so talented and the way it's produced and recorded and mixed, it just sounds so amazing and full, and every single piece sounds like it belongs. Whereas in the hands of someone else who didn't know what they were doing, this would just sound like a mess. Anyways, let's keep going.
Coming apart again.
Oh man. So this record came out in 1989. I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time. And I remember I had it on cassette, and I have this like core memory of being on a road trip with my family, like my parents and my sister, and driving through the mountains in British Columbia, being in the back of the vehicle and listening to this in my headphones, and just like being a moody teenager staring out into the mountains as the sun's going down, and just totally like vibing out as like a 14-year-old or 13-year-old or however old I was. Yeah, it's like locked in my brain every time I hear this song. Anyways, so much going on here. It's just like insane, and it just keeps going. It's just beautiful. At the time that this record came out, I think it's interesting that it was like, it wasn't panned, but it wasn't like received in the way that it's looked at now. Like now this album is widely looked at as a masterpiece, and it's on like a lot of top album lists. I think if you ask most Cure fans, this is probably at the top of the list for most of them. But when it came out, I don't think people knew what to do with it because there's so much going on. And this is just one of the songs. The album itself from start to finish is a masterpiece. Like every song on it is amazing. I don't even think this is my favorite song on the record. Yeah, it's just such an interesting, amazing production, and such a great album. All right, let's keep going. This is like a trick that The Cure do, and they do it on a bunch of their songs. Like they do it on Pictures of You. They do it on Just Like Heaven. They do it on a bunch of their like big songs, where they have these really simple guitar melodies, but they have like 9 of those, and they just like layer, and it just creates something that sounds so complex and full, but it's really simple. Like if you listen to what they're playing, all of these parts are very simple, but in aggregate, they sort of create this like really full, amazing sound. And it's the same thing on a lot of their songs. Because yeah, there's so much going on here. If you listen, every single thing they're playing is very straightforward. It's just like really masterful songwriting. Such a long sustain. So good. Oh man, such a beautiful song. Like one of my favorites of all time. This whole album, I think this was their 8th album, I think. Like I said, it came out in 1989. But this one is sort of the pinnacle, I think, of The Cure at their like most creative, most experimental. And yeah, if you haven't really dug into The Cure, I highly recommend it, because I think they're often misunderstood because of the way they present themselves. They're sort of this like goth looking band, but they're such an incredible group of artists, and just so many songs, like so prolific and so many beautiful songs. And Robert Smith, who's the main songwriter, vocalist, guitar player, is just like such a talented guy. One of my favorite bands of all time. Really, really recommend digging into The Cure if you haven't given them a shot. Anyways, that was Disintegration by The Cure. Really appreciate you guys watching. If you like this song, chances are you'll like other songs I talk about. So check the channel out, subscribe, and like the video because it helps other people find it. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much.